Minasan oha konbannichiwa and welcome to the Genki 1 Lesson 12 live stream. It's our final live stream for the Genki 1 textbook. After that, we'll be moving on to Genki 2. Well, after the practice live stream next week. We've changed the question and answer live stream to practice. So if you want to come practice what we learned today, please check us out next Sunday. So today we're going to be covering explaining yourself in Japanese, saying too much in Japanese, the phrase too much, saying had better, another because or so something like kara, saying must or have to in Japanese, and saying the word probably with de shou. Before we get started with that, I just want to mention that today, for the first time ever, Yuki is not sitting over there. She's actually at home right now. For some personal stuff. I actually just got back from there about 2 or 3 hours ago. But she is with us right now on the Discord. So I'm going to ask her to go ahead and say hello. Yuki, please say hello to everyone on the live stream right now.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Onegaishimasu.
Konnichiwa.
Alright, so she, just like in our practice stream, will be reading out any super chats or anything that came in. So we've decided that if we ever get any super chats in chat, that Yuki's going to read them out live on stream, just like she did in the practice. We had some funny stuff going on with that. So if anyone wants to drop a super chat, Yuki will read them out for us, and she'll also be supporting me in case I have any questions that I can't answer. So before we get started with all of the lesson stuff, I just want to say hi to everyone in chat. If your name isn't in the participants list, as in you were chatting earlier on in the stream, I might not get your name, but if I do that, I'm really sorry. So first, welcome to the live stream, Angela Chua, Simpy101, Come to Japan Dan, Donnie Beck, Ethan, Gorkum, Keckles, Lena, Lucian, Lynn, Marielle, Patrick, Fui Kang, Pitovnikov, Radclaw, The Red Value, and Yuki Achik. In stream right now, I think we have at least 3 other YouTubers. We've got Come to Japan Dan, my trusty mod. He's trying to bring someone to Japan for free, so check him out. We've also got Lucian, who's been doing some videos recently. Not on this channel, I don't think, but he can throw his link in the chat if he wants to. And The Red Value, who also makes content about Japan. So welcome to the stream, everyone. It's great to see you guys, and anyone I missed, I apologize. Jack C8, welcome. I hope you're all having a great night. Thanks for the retweet on the video earlier. You're welcome, I'm sure, from Come to Japan Dan. So, how is everyone tonight? I'm really excited. This is our final Genki 1 live stream. It's the second time I've done a final Genki 1 live stream. But after this time, we're finally going to be moving on to Genki 2 for real as soon as it arrives. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for Genki 2 to get here, what we're gonna be doing is, I think I'm gonna try and do not every day, but every couple days, I'm gonna try and do a practice live stream like we did for lesson 11 last week. For all of the lessons up until 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna do practice live streams for all of those so you can come practice making sentences for each and every grammar section in Genki. For anyone who is a patron, thank you, my patrons. This live stream is sponsored by you, my patrons. There's going to be we're going to try to make a final test for all of Genki 1 so you can check your knowledge before moving on to Genki 2. I'm not sure how I'm going to format it yet, but we'll see. Okay, let me get a sip of water. To all who get the Patreon badge, upload it to Discord. Yes, please send a picture of the badge if you've already gotten it, the Ando-san badge. We actually we haven't been able to send anything new out yet. So Cyprus, United States, Australia, and Russia still cannot receive mail from Japan. So, well, at least packages. So we still haven't been able to send out to there, but they'll be coming as soon as we can possibly send them. Another announcement in relation to that, a little bit later in the live stream, so stick around for that. Right, wishing you fun for the Genki 1 season finale now. Need to leave, unfortunately. The Ryzen is waiting. Ooh, building something, maybe. Enjoy. Thanks for stopping by, man. Gorgum, every good thing has an ending, he says. Indeed it does, but the stream's not ending. The stream will be going on for a very, very, very long time. All right. So let's see if I missed anything. I was way behind on the stream. Oh, I was not live. Well, welcome to the live stream. Welcome again, Simpy, in case you missed my welcome for you. Keckles, konnichiwa minasan, and Lena says, 今日は私は二日酔いだ. Sumimasen. No worries. No problem. Oh, about to take my PC apart. Got myself a nice new Ryzen 390X. Woo woo. Enjoy. That's gonna speed up your streaming. All right, I'm still alive, says Aubergine. That's good to know. I'm happy you're doing okay. You're out of the hospital. Well, I guess you were out of the hospital last time too, yeah? I'm happy to hear that you are doing okay. Hope you don't have to go back anytime soon. Wishing you well. All right, guys. It was really nice. All right. I think we're ready to go, guys. Are you ready? This is going to be a long lesson. You can check out on the screen right now. We've got all of the color codes. We stuck with them for the most part, I think, in this lesson. There may be a few little tweaks, but I'm still on lesson 5. Should I be watching this, says Moonlight? I mean, it's fun to hang out anyway, and you might pick something up, but there may be things that feel a little bit above where you're at. My brain is barely functioning. Radclaw, did you end up sleeping, or did you go for the all-nighter? I hope you got a little sleep. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into explaining yourself in Japanese with this, according to Genki, this. So a normal sentence in Japanese, just straight normal sentence, this is just one word, but that sentence in Japanese, remember, is something like takakatta, was expensive. An explanation sentence in Japanese is something like this, takakattanda, takakattanda. Now in Genki, it explains this grammar point as this. Now, it's not entirely wrong, and they explain noda, which I like to call it, in like a footnote. But I don't know that I agree with how they're putting it, because the actual grammar point is noda, noda. This is a more polite version, and the is a conversational version of no. So obviously it's always easier to shorten things or sort of slur them in conversation than it is to say the whole entire thing. So no da in conversation or no this is a little bit clunky. Excuse me. A little bit clunky. So in conversation it becomes nda or this. Now Genki teaches this as this. You know, that's questionable, but it does often become this in conversation. In the written word, it's usually no da or no this, unless it's like, you know, a conversation piece, a quote in the written word, then you'll still see things like nda and this. So please be aware that these are different ways that it may show up. If you're reading stuff, maybe no da. But if you're speaking, people are usually going to have an this at the end, and this is for explanation sentences. So we'll get to what that means in a minute. So to use this expression, no da or this, you need a short form verb. So it needs to be the short form. Okay, past tense, whatever, it doesn't matter, but it needs to end in the short form if you're using a verb at the end of your sentence. An adjective is just the adjective plus no da or this. A na adjective or a noun, so there's two different ways. If it's a na adjective, you need to have na before the no da. So nanoda or nanodes or nandis at the end there. For a noun, you're going to have datta, dattanda, datta no des, right? Short form past tense of da, datta. Noun could also have a na in between it depending on the type of word. So we'll get to some example sentences to try and help you understand what I'm talking about. So, for example, hanashitanda, I talked. Now, this sentence might show up if someone asked you, hey, did you talk to so-and-so? Hanashitanda. This is my explanation. I'm explaining that, yes, I talked to them. So there's no real word that you can put in here for this, right? There's no real translation for it. It's an explanation. Takakattanda. It was expensive. So someone might have asked you, why didn't you buy it? Takakattanda. Because it was expensive. Or takakattan desu. Or takakatta no desu, for example. Here's another sentence. Kodomo nan desu. Kodomo is a noun, so you could have na. An adjective would also take na. Nan desu. They're just a child is sort of the nuance this has. So if some kid does something silly and you're like, dakara kodomo nan desu. They're just a kid, right? It's an explanation of why the kid might have done something by adding this to the end. But you need that na after nouns or na adjectives. So don't forget that. You can't say kodomon desu. That sounds weird. You could say kodomo dattan desu, but that would mean that they were a child. So na is usually more common if you're just saying something like because they're a kid or something like that. You can, in some situations, translate this as because, but a lot of times it's not really translatable. It's just, well, you'll see. Let's go into some conversational examples. So this sort of makes it a little bit more clear. So, なんで買わなかった? This is my sentence before. なんで買わなかった? Why didn't you buy it? So the explanation for that, you could just say 高かった. But because they asked you a question and you want to explain the reason for what you didn't do, you'd be more likely to use んだ or んです. So 高かったんです. Because it was expensive is another way you could translate this. You could put because in pink if you wanted to. 高かったんです. It was expensive, or because it was expensive. あれは誰なんですか? Who is that? You can also use んです or んだ when asking for an explanation. So if I ask a question with んですか, that sort of it signals the listener that I want an explanation to something. And in this case, I want an explanation to who is that? あれは who is that over there? あれは誰なんですか? And because 誰 is a noun, you need to put な before んです. 誰なんですか? Who is that? 先生なんです. That's the teacher. Now, you can't translate this んです as because, right? It's just an explanation to the question that was asked. So that's why I usually don't translate it as because in a lot of situations, it's not because. Like you wouldn't say, who is that? Because it's the teacher. No. It's just an explanation to the question that was answered. So, 先生なんです. 先生なんです. That's the teacher. Okay, so we're going to jump into the first conversation piece for tonight. I'll read it at a slow pace first, then a normal pace. And then we'll go over the English, and then I'm going to give you guys a chance to practice what we just learned, trying to make a sentence instead of the question and answer section. I'm still happy to answer questions, but today we're going to do practice sentences. If you're watching on the replay, please feel free to make sentences as well down in the comments when the cues come up. All right, moving on. So, 頭が痛い. え? なんで? 飲みすぎたんだ。私も飲みすぎたのです。あれ? B さん? 俺も飲みすぎたんだ。あれ? 安藤さん? Alright, full speed. 頭が痛い。え、なんで? 飲みすぎたんだ。私も飲みすぎたのです。あれ? B さん? 俺も飲みすぎたんだ。あれ? 安藤さん? Alright, let's jump into the English. The first two sentences were 頭が痛い. That's pretty straightforward. If you're up to this point in Genki, you should know that this means my head hurts or I have a headache. 頭が痛い. 痛い means hurts. え? なんで? なんで is a phrase that just means why. Straightforward. 飲みすぎたんだ. Now, I've also thrown a grammar point in here that's going to show up later in the lesson, and that is sugita, which means too much. I'll get to the meaning later. Stick around to that or click down on the timestamp. It's not on live stream, obviously, but if you're watching this later, click on the timestamp to get to sugita if you want to find out more about that right now. But basically, nomi sugitanda, it's an explanation for the question, why? And the explanation is that I drank too much. That's because I drank too much. So I guess cause here should be pink. But because I don't usually translate, excuse me, I had a cough recently, as because I'm not going to do that. So, 私も飲みすぎたのです. I also drank too much. I also drank too much. So same sentence basically, but using no des. A little bit more polite. A little bit more formal. Using no. Actually saying it out loud instead of just des. あれ? B. So this are is not the are that means that over there. This are means it's sort of an, what's the word I'm looking for? Like an interjection. Like, huh? What? Well, I translated as what here? What? B, as in B-san. So you can say when you're surprised, like, huh? Are? You didn't expect something to happen, you can use are. 俺も飲みすぎたんだ. So basically you just saw a few different levels of politeness. It's the exact same sentence as A-san said. Ando-san says, 俺も飲みすぎたんだ. I too, or I also drank too much. The final sentence is also あれ? Ando-san So the person is surprised that Ando-san is there. Why is Ando-san here? Why is B-san here? I wasn't expecting that when I woke up. Are? Ando-san? Which brings us to the next section, which is how to say too much. Sugita. In Japanese. Before we get to that, we're going to jump into chat. But before we do that, I want you to tell me what lesson you're on in Genki using this. Okay, so I want an explanation. So, 今、なんでわからないの? So I just asked, why don't you understand? 今、なんでわからないの? Is what I'm going to say. And I want you to answer with this using what chapter you're actually on in Genki. So for example, I might say, Genki Lesson 1なんです. No, that's actually a hard sentence to say, but I guess I would put something like, hold on. Come to Japan doesn't use Genki. Genki no lesson 3をして勉強しているんですから So put から at the end there. から at the end, right? So 元気のレッスン3を勉強しているんですから That's one example of a sentence you could make with that. You can also put から at the end to add that because level onto it. I should have thought of these questions before we jumped into it. But anyway, if anyone has any questions, you can also ask those. You can go ahead and answer with what lesson of Genki you're actually on, or you can make any kind of sentence you'd like. For example, maybe a better question would be, what did you do yesterday? What did you do yesterday? So answer that question with this. Let's go with that. That's a better question. So, what did you do yesterday? 昨日何をやりましたか? Or 昨日何やったの? 昨日何やったの? What did you do yesterday? For example, I could say, what did I do yesterday? Sushi を食べたんだ. Sushi を食べたんだ. Is just a shortened version that is used more. It's actually no da. Da, the is a shortened version of no. It's conversational. So I'm honestly not sure why Genki teaches it as this, because the grammar point is actually no da, I believe. But either way, they're basically the same. No da. If you look in here, the grammar dictionary, this is no da. No this. But it can be shortened to this in conversation. So this grammar dictionary is made by you can't actually see it. Let's go ahead and pull up the full screen. This grammar dictionary is made by, you can see, the Japan Times, who also makes Genki. Genki teaches it as this, but in their own grammar dictionary they teach it as noda. And of course, in conversation the no is shortened to this or da. Da is basically des in informal conversation. I don't care what Tai Kim says, that's how it is. Okay. So, let's see what kind of sentences we got. 元気のレッスン12を勉強しているんだから。わかりました。Oh, いいね、Patrick. Good sentence. Love it. 仕事だったんです。Says, come to Japan でお疲れ様でした。昨日新しい本も買ったんです。いいね、ジオ。Love it. ピザを食べなんだ. 食べなんだ. That's actually sort of slangy. I didn't eat pizza, is what you actually said there. I think you want to say 食べたんだ. 食べたんだ, right? Alright, I'm confused. Why do we call it the noda form if in practice we had nda? Because, okay, I think I answered that question. I think we're okay there. Alright. 昨日は12階に上げましたんだ. あ、登りましたんだね. You climbed, I would say. 登りましたんだ. 登りましたんだ. For Petovnikov. 登りましたんだ. I heard that your apartment is now on the 12th floor and you have no elevator. You're gonna have some serious legs. 昨日は新しい日本人の友達と、Where is that? いいね. Let's go over here. I'm gonna drop that there. Sorry.
登りましたんだ、違います。
Oh, did I use the wrong kanji? 登りました 何が違うの？
Nobotanda is correct.
Ah, right. It should be nobotanda. Sorry. Nobotanda. Short form. Nobotanda, not noborimashitanda.
The kanji is
Okay, Genki no lesson 10,
when you
18.
say Nobotanda.
So yeah, I remember I taught that. Sorry, we're talking to Yuki right now. She's helping me out. Thank you. Genki no lesson 18を勉強しているんです。Nice. Okay. Hey Dan, Kyushu Trails. Nice to see you, Kyushu Trails. Thanks for stopping by. Diglett's late, but I'm here. Good morning, Diglets. Good to see you. And Carpe Diem also said, Eek, better late than never. Good evening, Carpe Diem. I hope you're having a good night. Or good day, actually. Oha konbannichiwa. Genki no lesson. Okay. 昨日、7時間勉強だったのだ。Woo! 勉強したんだ。It could also be what you say. 昨日は一日中勉強したんだ。I don't think you need that に。一日中勉強したんだ would be fine. Alright, good. I love it. We have 50 people here right now. Thank you for stopping by, everyone. And we have 31 likes, so please smash the like button if you find these lessons useful. Since there's 50 people here, before we move on to too much in Japanese, I have a little bit of an announcement. Just a little bit. A little bit of an announcement. Let's just pop this up there. Okay, so for those of you who are on the Patreon, I had a bunch of people asking about when this was going to happen, when this was going to go live, and here it is. This is Yuki's Mizuhiki website. It's called Tomone Mizuhiki. There's a link in the description down below if you'd like to check it out. She is selling Mizuhiki accessories like this pin badge, which is very similar to the Ando-san pin badge, but some different colors. The Tomone badge right there. Check that out. Easy to pick up. And with descriptions of what Mizuhiki is, she makes all of these by hand, every single one of them. Kakigori, which means, well, I'll let you take a look at what it means, but basically earrings, only available in the summer months, because look at that, those are totally summer. Akane, which is available all times of year. There's tie pins, earrings, pin badges, and other types of earrings, like shinobi. These are set, ne? Shinobi and kunoichi. Did you know kunoichi is female ninja? I didn't know that. And take a look at this. If you take kunoichi, this is how you write it out, and put them together, they become onna. What do you know? These are the kunoichi earrings. So Yuki, we finally finished her website. It's up, it's live. Unfortunately, we cannot ship to the United States, Russia, Australia, or Cyprus. So anywhere else we can ship to right away. If you are in the United States or one of those other countries I mentioned and you order, it will take a while before we can ship them out. But just so you know, that is up now. She is the sponsor of this lesson. Thank you, Yuki. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But anyway, take a look at that. Tomone Mizuhiki. The link is down in the description if you'd like to get a cool type-in or something for your significant other or for yourself. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you very much. If it breaks, let me know. That's my fault. All right, jumping back over here. All right, what do we got? Dab on it. Arigatou. 昨日映画を見たんだ。見たんだ would be it. Terra Angel. 見たんだ。見たんだ。Alright, Rad Clock Echoes Zanibek. めっちゃ頑張ってるんだ。すごい Woohoo! Nice! Finally! Woohoo! Way to go, Yuki! Yuki, I am a man and I enjoy your work. Nice, says Lucian. Nice! すごい says Gorkin. Woo! Yay! Kawaii! Wow, what an artist. Looks good, Yuki, for president. I agree. Europe? Europe is okay. Europe definitely received. I believe everyone in Europe... Has everyone in Europe gotten your pin badges? We sent all of the Europe pin badges out from the Patreon. So any patrons here... I know there's a bunch of you that are patrons. Thank you. I'd love to know if you've gotten your Mizuhiki pin badges yet. 昨日映画を見たんだ. Yes, Yuki got the answer there. Nice. Genki を2週間開いてないんですから. Fair enough. You haven't opened it in 2 weeks. Oh no. Thank you, Come to Japan, for that link. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into our next section. We've got lots of sections to go today. Fortunately, neither myself nor Yuki has work tomorrow, so we can keep going. But here we go. Next section is too much in Japanese. So to say too or too much, so too with two O's, right? We can use the auxiliary verb sugiru. Sugiru means too much. Sugiru. All you have to do, to use it, is attach it to the vimasu stem. So if you don't know about the vimasu stem yet, you're going to have to go back to lesson 3 or lesson 4 where we go over it. We also go over it in a lot of other lessons. But basically you need to take the vimasu stem and add the verb sugiru. And that means too much of that verb. For a short negative version, so to say you don't do too much of something, or you tabe nasa sugiru, so to say you don't eat enough, basically, or don't eat enough, basically. You take a short negative, you cut off the e, add sa, and sugiru. We'll show you some examples so that it makes more sense. Aren't you loving the sound of those fans? For an e adjective, all you do is cut off the e and add sugiru. For a na adjective, all you have to do is add sugiru. There's no na in between. So let's go ahead and take a look at some example sentences so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So, tabe sugiru. So in case you forget, tabe is the vimasu stem of taberu because taberu is a ichidan verb. So tabemasu, right? So tabe sugiru. So eat too much. That's what that means. Or will eat too much or eat too much. To say you eat too little, you'd say tabe nasa sugiru. So you cut off that e, add sa, sugiru. Tabe nasa sugiru, which means eat too little. But literally it translates as not eat too much, right? But we would never say that in English, so the English translation is eat too little. Not eat too much. Tabe nasa sugiru. Okay? I put this in orange just so you can see, the sort of nuanced difference. For an e adjective, you just cut off the e, so it becomes takasugiru. Takasugiru. Too expensive. Takasugiru. For an adjective like shizuka, all you have to do is add sugiru to the end. Shizuka sugiru. Too quiet. Too quiet. It's a fun little auxiliary verb you can get a lot of use out of, I think. I use it a lot. Here's some more complicated sentences. We've got niku o tabesugimashita. So let's mention at this point in time that sugiru conjugates like an iru or edu verb. So ichidan verb. You notice it ends in sugiru, sugiru. So you just cut off the ru and add mas or mashita or whatever. Conjugates as a normal iru edu verb. So also for the past tense, sugita, tabesugita. So I ate too much would be the short version of this. Conjugates just like an iru edu verb. Niku o tabesugimashita. I ate too much meat. This is the polite past tense. Mizu o nomanasa sugiru. You drink too little water. Mizu o nomanasa sugiru. I also drink too little water. No, I drink a ton of water, and I'm going to drink some right now. Apologies. Moving on, we have takasugitanda. So I used nda, so it was too expensive. I think we had the sentence a little bit earlier. Takasugitanda. Because it was too expensive. That's maybe why I didn't buy something. Tabesugitanda. It's too expensive. All right. So, that brings us to our conversation piece. So I'm going to read it slowly one time and then full speed. We'll go over the English and I'll get to your questions and we'll make some sentences together. All right, let's go. みんなが飲みすぎたから A さんは家に泊まってもいいよと言っていたのです。なるほど、思い出した。ラーメンにも食べに行ったね。食べ過ぎましたね。ちなみに安藤さんのいびきはうるさすぎる。すまん。Alright, let's read that at full speed. みんなが飲みすぎたから A さんは家に泊まってもいいよと言っていたのです。なるほど、思い出した。ラーメンにも行ったね。食べ過ぎましたね。ちなみに安藤さんのいびきはうるさすぎる。すまん。Alright, let's jump into the English and then we'll make some sentences together. The first sentence was みんなが飲みすぎたから A さんは家に泊まってもいいよと言っていたのです。It's a pretty long sentence, but it means everyone drank too much. みんな、everyone. みんなが飲みすぎたから everyone drank too much. 過ぎたから So, you said we could stay at your house. So, A-san, not usually. Remember, you don't usually use あなた or whatever with people you already know. So you use their names. Generally speaking, that's not always true. I use things like kimi and anata and anta and things like that all the time. But generally speaking, you're going to use someone's name if you know it. So, A-san は家に泊まってもいいよ。家に泊まってもいいよ。泊まる means to stay at someone's house or to stay somewhere. So, stay at your house. もいい, I believe we went over that in lesson, I can't remember, 7, 6? Can't remember exactly what lesson that was from. But てもいい means you can, basically. You can, or can I if you add a question at the end. 泊まってもいいよと言っていたのです. You said. So, 言っていた or 言っていました is what you said, because I heard it myself. That's from a few lessons ago, and no des is the explanation. She's explaining why they're at my house, or A's house, I guess. なるほど. なるほど is a way to say, I see, or I get it now. なるほど. I use this all the time. Please try using it yourself. なるほど. I see. 思い出した. 思い出す means to remember. 思い出す. 思い出した. I remember. Usually when you say you remembered something, it's past tense. 思い出した. I remember now. Or I remembered. All right. Next sentences were more straightforward. We have ラーメンにも行ったね. So in lesson 10, we went over にも. There was those 6 things where you can add に or whatever. They were confusing. Jump back to lesson 10. I went over those in more detail. But basically it means we also went to ramen. 行ったね. Ramen is... You could just use it as a noun for a place that sells ramen. ラーメンにも行ったね。食べ過ぎましたね。Yeah, we ate too much. 食べ過ぎましたね。ちなみに Remember, these are the colors for something new that isn't taught in Genki necessarily, but something that I like to use that I think you'll like to use as well. ちなみに means by the way. ちなみに Another way to say by the way is ところで, but ちなみに is what we're going with here. ちなみに安藤さんのいびき Ando's snoring いびき is snoring はうるさすぎるうるさい means noisy or loud うるさすぎる too loud way too loud うるさい is sort of you can use it as an as a interjection or like sort of as a command to tell someone to shut up うるせ or just that they're being too loud うるさいよ you're being noisy. You'll hear parents telling their kids that a lot when they're being really noisy in a McDonald's or whatever. うるさいよとか stuff like that. すまん is a very casual way of saying すみません. I don't suggest saying すまん. It doesn't sound like he's really apologetic, but すまん. I use this sometimes. It's a very casual way, very, very casual way to say すみません. すまん. And that brings us to had better in Japanese. So please tell me something that you do too much of or recently did too much of. For example, 昨日寿司を食べ過ぎた. Yesterday, I ate too much sushi. So please tell me in Japanese something that you did too much of recently. You can use the past tense or the present tense for things that you do regularly. So you use the present tense. For example, 水を飲みすぎる. So if I'm just saying I, on a regular basis, drink too much water, you use the present tense. Use the past tense for otherwise. All right. I'm sorry to hear that it hasn't come yet, Carpe Diem. I hope that it will get there soon. I imagine England is... I haven't heard anyone in England getting them yet. I've only heard of Europe getting them, so maybe England will take a little bit longer. Sorry about that. But anyway, so only the verb can have a negative form of sugiru. There is no negative form of an adjective. So 高くなさすぎる. It's exactly the same. So you would just cut the e off of nai at the end of whatever it is, adverb or whatever, and put sa sugiru. Exactly the same. I should have mentioned that. Thank you, Lynn, for calling that out. I'll drop this onto the stream cut. But basically for adjectives, you conjugate them in the negative in the same way you would the verb. So it would be 食べなさすぎる is you don't eat enough. But 高くなさすぎる would be the negative of an adjective, an e adjective in particular. 高くない means not expensive. 高くなさすぎる means it's not expensive enough or something like that, or it's way too cheap is basically I guess what that would come off as. Or 安すぎる 安 安くなさすぎる. It's not cheap enough, I guess, is what you would say. That would be. For not adjectives and nouns, I guess it would be, 静かじゃなさすぎる. So you use 静かじゃなさすぎる. So for a negative non-adjective, you use じゃない in case you forgot. So 静かじゃなさすぎる. So you always cut off the E, add さすぎる. なさすぎる. Okay, hope that answers your question on there. Are you going to make Genki 2 videos? Says Toxic. And in Toxic, yes. Genki 2 will be starting at the beginning of October. I believe October 11th is the first scheduled Genki 2 stream. I'm waiting for Genki 2 3rd edition to come out. It's supposed to come out on September 25th. I believe mine will arrive in the mail on the 27th. That will give me 2 weeks to get the lesson prepped and all the Patreon content created and uploaded. So I gave myself 2 weeks basically to get all that done. It's a short period of time. I think I have a couple busy weeks in there. Hopefully I can get it done. I can get the lesson done. The Patreon content may be a little bit delayed, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll try and get it done. 映画を見すぎる says Terra Angel. Good sentence. Perfect. コンビニの食べ物を食べすぎる says Tobin. Perfect. 私はイエスと思う。nice, nice. 食べ物を話しすぎる。You talk too much about food. を話す nice. Okay, good. YouTube を見すぎる. So remember, it's the masu stem. So you'd cut off, you just have mi, since mi is an ichidan verb. So it'd just be 見すぎる. 見すぎる. But perfect. YouTube を見すぎる. You don't watch ToKini Andy too much, right? That's not good. You shouldn't watch too much. Just kidding. You should watch all you want. 昨日の夜、日本語を勉強しすぎましたから今眠いですね. Perfect. Almost. So しすぎました. しすぎました. So すぎる, as I mentioned earlier, is treated just like an ichidan verb. So you just cut off the ru and add mas or mashita or whatever. So すぎる is an ichidan verb. Keep that in mind. So 勉強しすぎました. No. Excuse me. This stupid cough. We've got 箱根で黒卵を食べ過ぎました. 黒卵? I didn't know Hakone had 黒卵. Maybe that's what they're known for. 黒卵を食べ過ぎました. Good sentence. Love it. Sugiru usually has a negative connotation, right? Usually. But not always, Ethan. Usually it is kind of a negative connotation. Like, you maybe shouldn't be doing that much. But, 良さすぎるだろとか, like, that's too good, is not really a negative meaning. Maybe there's some surprise in there. Like, I don't expect it to be that good. 良さすぎだろ. One other thing I want to mention really quickly, and I think Genki has this in a footnote, I'll also throw this on the stream cut, is that often we'll use just the noun sugi as opposed to the verb sugiru, especially in conversation. So we might say something like, instead of 食べすぎる, we might say 食べすぎだよ, 食べすぎだよ. I didn't actually know that was a noun until I read that footnote recently. I just thought we were cutting off the ru to make it easier, but I guess sugi is a noun. So 食べすぎ, the rules are all the same, except that instead of conjugating sugiru, you can say sugi da, so you would conjugate the da after sugi. So you could say something like 食べすぎだ, right? 食べすぎだよ. So that's another way to say the same thing, is to use the noun sugi. You can use it in the same way as you do the verb, but it would just end as sugi, or you could add da at the end if you want to change it to negative. 食べすぎじゃない, for example. Well, that's a little bit of a different grammar point there. But anyway, 昨日飲みすぎました, says Lena. お疲れ様でした. 二日酔いですね. いいよ. We've all been there. 昨日は寝なさすぎました. Okay, so if you want to say that you didn't sleep enough, Austin, did anyone correct you there? No, yeah. So that would be 昨日は寝なさすぎた. So 寝ない, neru is an ichidan verb, so it's 寝る. 寝ない, that's the negative, so you cut off the e. 寝なさすぎる. So 寝なさすぎた would be the short version. 寝なさすぎました would be the full sentence. Otherwise, pretty close, Austin. Good job. Pitovnikov, 階段を歩きすぎました. I believe you. 階段を maybe 登りすぎました. 登りすぎました. So you're climbing stairs generally. You're not walking stairs. You generally climb them. So you'd use 登る, which means to climb, the sentence from the verb from earlier. And the vima stem of 登る is 登りすぎました. That's what you'd use there, Patovnikov. But close. Oh, I missed. I'm sorry. Thank you, Annie. Yukichik, no problem. Ramen wo 多すぎた. 多すぎた. There was too much ramen. Where? I want to go to that place. 先週末お酒を飲みすぎたからアンディ先生の授業をサボりました。I love that. Great sentence, Donnie. I forgive you. It sounds like you did your studying, so no problem. Not too much of your content, Andy. Only YouTube videos in general. I hear you. I do too. コーヒーを飲みすぎる。俺もコーヒーを飲みすぎる. I've been trying not to drink coffee in the afternoon, but I did grab a coffee on the drive back here tonight because I left Yuki's hometown, I don't know, 5 o'clock. I got back at 7:30, so I knew that I was going to need a little bit of a boost for tonight. So I got a coffee. I probably will have a hard time sleeping tonight. Good thing I don't have work tomorrow. 勉強しなさすぎました? Yes, perfect. 勉強しなさすぎました. Perfect sentence. That means you didn't study enough. Not even close to enough. They're pretty good. Yeah, in class they told us it was only negative, but I recently heard きれいすぎ. Yeah, okay. So this is probably something, Ethan, the rule there. It's probably similar to the fact that you can't use positives with 全然. So, you know, 全然面白くない means that's not interesting at all or that's not funny at all. But a lot of people use 全然 with things like 大丈夫, 全然大丈夫, which grammatically is incorrect, right? Because 大丈夫 is a positive. They're going to be changing that soon because people use it so much. But 全然大丈夫 is grammatically incorrect, but it's colloquial. It's used in conversation all the time. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. 全然大丈夫. So I have a feeling that things like きれいすぎ is, it's like that. So grammatically, it's probably incorrect, but so many people use it that you just need to be aware that you're going to hear it. わあ、きれいすぎ. きれいすぎる. It's too beautiful. Too beautiful. So grammatically, maybe it's not supposed to be used that way. But in real life, people use it that way all the time. So please be aware of that. Excuse me. ベースを練習しなさすぎた. Nice one, Simon. Love it. Like it. Ramen も食べすぎた. 食べすぎた. Ah, you ate too much ramen. Yeah, that's probably better. Good job. I like that sentence. You can never eat too much ramen. Yes, no work tomorrow, club. Woo! すごすぎる. Yeah, that one comes up a lot. Thank you, Yuki. Yeah. すごすぎる. That's too amazing. すごすぎる. That's one that comes up a lot. すごすぎる. Kanpai. Maybe I'll join you at the end of this stream with a kanpai then. Tomorrow I will goro 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 goro. いいね. No work club, I'm in. All right. So, let's go ahead and move on to had better in Japanese. Those are some great sentences. Good job, guys. This next one is going to be very useful. I feel like you're going to get a lot of use out of had better in Japanese. Had better in Japanese when you really think someone should do something, or you really should do something, or maybe shouldn't do something. We use ほうがいい. So ほう. Now you can actually use the kanji for direction here. ほう. This is the particle ga, and い means good. ほうがいい. So it would be good if you went in that direction. It's basically the literal translation of it. It is the literal translation of it, but it's used to mean you should do something. Okay, so let's go over the usage, how you make it, and then we'll go over some examples. You take the short form past tense plus ほうがいい to make it a little more polite, です. Or you take the short negative for things that people should not do. You don't conjugate the い. You can make it past tense. But to say you shouldn't do something, you put what comes before it in the negative, and that should be short form negative. So 食べない方がいいです. So you shouldn't eat. Or if you say you should eat, 食べた方がいい. We'll go over some example sentences in a minute. I do have a comment about that short form past tense though, so we'll get to that. So some example sentences, simple ones. We've got 食べた方がいい. That's what I just said. 食べた方がいい. You had better eat, or you really should eat. 食べた方がいい. 飲まない方がいい. You shouldn't drink, or you really should not drink. For example, that. So like if someone picks up a certain bottle and you saw someone put their cigarette in there, you might say, それは飲まない方がいいよ。飲まない方がいい. You shouldn't drink that. 飲まない方がいい. One thing I've got a little star here is that you will encounter this 方がいい with non-past tense coming before it. It's much more uncommon. I haven't heard it much at all, but it's not necessarily grammatically incorrect, and it does show up from time to time. So please be aware you may hear things like 読む方がいい, should read. You may hear things like that. But it's much more common to use the past tense short form or the negative short form. One thing I will mention, and Genki doesn't go over this, let's just go back to here, is that you can actually make this the past tense. You can conjugate e as よかった. So, 飲まない方がよかった. You would probably say 飲まなければよかった. But anyway, you can change that to よかった. I have seen that happen before, but it's not super common. 方がよかった. Maybe I haven't heard that. Scratch that. Anyway, some more difficult sentences. Wait, you can use negative plus sugiru to say not enough. Yes, you can either. Oh, I'm not supposed to be answering questions right now, but pause. Yes, you can say 飲まなさすぎる. You don't drink enough. 飲まなさすぎる. Okay, amigo. もっとタンパク質を食べた方がいいんですよ。食べた方がいいんですよ. So you should eat more protein. もっと is more. タンパク質 is protein. And obviously 食べた方がいいんですよ. So this is an explanation. You can also use んです in this way when you're telling someone that they should do something. You can use んです to add some more emphasis to that. Say, you're explaining something that maybe they don't know. Like, man, you need to get more protein. You've been working out like crazy. You haven't gained a single ounce of muscle, and the reason is もっとタンパク質を食べた方がいいんだよ. Like that. Next one is お酒を飲みすぎない方がいいよ. You really should not drink too much alcohol. You really shouldn't drink too much alcohol. お酒を飲みすぎない方がいいよ. 飲みすぎない方がいいよ. So there we've got a couple grammar points in here. We've got the negative すぎる. We put that in the negative. 飲みすぎない. So don't drink too much. Don't drink too much. Not too much drink is what the literal translation of that. Not too much drink. Really should not alcohol is how the literal translation works out there, but this is perfectly fine sentence. お酒を飲みすぎない方がいいよ. You shouldn't drink too much alcohol. You really should not drink too much alcohol. It's a weird sentence when you try and put it in English, but it works in Japanese. Let's go over a little tiny conversation piece before we get to the full conversation. 行った方がいいんですよ. You really should go, you know. でも行きたくないんだ. But I don't wanna go. 行った方がいいんですよ. You really should go, you know. でも行きたくないんだ. But I don't wanna go. This person is explaining that they really should. This person is explaining that they really don't wanna go. Which brings us to our conversation point. I'm going to go over it slowly, full speed, go over the English, and then we're going to make some sentences together. So, first part. 横で寝た方がいいね. はいはい. した方がいいことといえば、みんなは水をたくさん飲んだ方がいいですよ. あと、朝ごはんを食べた方がいいですね。食べましょう。Full speed. 横で寝た方がいい。横で寝た方がいいね。Let's get that better. 横で寝た方がいいね。はいはい。した方がいいことといえば、みんなは水をたくさん飲んだ方がいいですよ。あと、朝ごはんも食べた方がいいですね。食べましょう. Let's go over the English for that. We've got 横で寝た方がいいね. You should sleep on your side. 横で寝る means sleep on your side. 横で寝た方がいいね. はいはい. Yeah, yeah. した方がいいことといえば. This is a new little point that it doesn't show up in Genki yet, but といえば means speaking of. といえば. after whatever we're speaking of. So した方がいいことといえば speaking of things we should do. した方がいいことといえばみんなは水をたくさん飲んだ方がいいですよ。Speaking of things we should do, everyone, みんな should drink lots of たくさん water. You know, that's the yo, you know. みんなは水をたくさん飲んだ方がいいですよ。Our next sentence was あと also あと is also or after also 朝ごはんを食べた方がいいですね。Also, we should eat breakfast, yeah? 食べましょう Yeah, let's eat. 食べましょう showed up way back in the, what was it, lesson 5? 4? 5? I don't know. It was a while ago. 食べましょう Which brings us to because, another way to say because. That's not kara in Japanese. So, for sentences using ほうがいい please tell me, not me. Let's see. I think I have a question like this at the end of the lesson. I think that's from question time, but we can go ahead and do it. Well, you can do two. So what I want you to do is tell me something that you should do. That you should do tomorrow. Something you should do tomorrow. You don't necessarily plan on doing it. Like, maybe you won't. But tell me something you should do tomorrow. So for me, 俺、ビデオを作った方がいい。tomorrow. 明日。ビデオを作った方がいい That's what I should do tomorrow. So please tell me something that you should do tomorrow using 方がいい Alright, let's see what we got in chat. Not too much of your... Okay, sweet. Yuki, H-ik, every day. Yes, no work tomorrow, club. Tomorrow I will goro. No work. Wait, you can use... There's like nothing in chat. I'm worried that like I'm disconnected or something. Nope, I think we're okay. Sweet. 寝た方がいいおやすみ says 当弁みんな。おやすみ当弁 Good night. おやるみ。はい。ありがとうございました。おやすみ。エレベーターを作った方がいいです。パターンを見えますね。見ますね。What's the last thing you're saying there? パターンを見ますね。You're gonna look at a pattern. パターン。明日早く起きた方がいい So not the te form, we're going to use ta, but good try, Rohit. 明日早く起きた方がいい Otherwise perfect, Rohit. 洗濯した方がいい Nice. 明日映画を見ない方がいいですよ Oh, that's a good one. Something you shouldn't do tomorrow is also a perfectly good way to complete this. 映画を見ない方がいいですよ Tara, perfect. 仕事に行く方がいい。まあ、yeah, you can say that, but it would be more common to say 行った方がいい。俺もビデオを作った方がいい。Ooh, damn, what kind of video should you make tomorrow? What kind of video should you make tomorrow? You can see the pattern. You can see the pattern. Gotcha. パターンを見えますか Can you see the pattern? Or パターンを見えますね。見えます。So once again, 見る is also an ichidan verb, irueru verb. So you just cut, and mieru is also an ichidan verb. So you cut the ru and add masu. 見えますね Perfect. Okay. 仕事に行った方がいい Yes. Fortunately, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. Thankfully. Alright, good job. Alright. If anyone has any questions, just because we're making sentences instead of asking questions, please still feel free to ask any questions that you might have, and I will happily answer them. I think that making sentences is a better way to pick up on questions maybe you don't know you have. So if we see little mistakes, it's easy to fix them, and you find out that maybe you didn't understand something better than if you were trying to think of a question. So I think that works really well. And that's why on the question and answer stream, we're no longer doing the question and answer stream, although question and answers are okay. Instead, we're practicing each section of the lesson. So next Sunday, we'll be practicing each section of this live stream, every grammar point together. So just like we're doing now, creating sentences, but we're going to make more. We're going to focus on just creating sentences, and I'll be answering questions or correcting anything to help us, grasp it a little bit more. And we're going to be doing that with lessons 1 through 10 as well before we get started with Genki 2, hopefully if I have enough time. but we'll see how that's going. ライブをするつもりです says Come to Japan Dan. Nice. Check out his live stream tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed to Come to Japan Dan if you aren't already. 毎日日本語を勉強した方がいいです I agree, Patrick. Nice stuff. 僕はまだレベル1だから間違った。ありがとう for the correction. No problem. Good job. For only being level 1? Great sentence. Good job. Keep it up. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to because in Japanese. Another way to say because in Japanese. The main way to say because in Japanese that we learned so far was in lesson 9, and that was kara. Today we're going to learn node. Node is essentially the same as kara in its usage. There are a few small differences. I'm going to pull out the dictionary of basic grammar to go over one of those differences because Genki surprisingly doesn't mention it. In fact, it says that they're basically the same. And they are, but there is one nuance that you need to be aware of. So, to use node, you use it exactly the same way as you would kara, and that is the reason comes first, followed by the situation. The reason comes first, followed by the situation, with node in between. To use node, you take the short form of a verb, short form, node, and end it with any form. So whatever form of a verb or whatever, anything, adjective, comes in the second sentence after node, that's what determines the tense of the whole clause, right? For adjectives, you just take the e adjective on its own, add node. You don't need des, so it's not e adjective plus des. It's just e adjective, node, then any form. Whatever comes in the second sentence determines the politeness and the tense of the whole thing. Not the tense. The tense can be changed. It's any short form of a verb before node, okay? For non-adjectives, nouns, you need to add na, node, and any form. One thing I want to mention really quickly is that to be more polite, some people will use non-short forms. They'll use the mas form before node, and that's actually okay. It just makes it even more polite. So people who want to sound really polite will sometimes use the mas form before node. But as a general rule, it's short forms come before node, and the second sentence determines the politeness of the whole thing. But yeah, so that's a general rule, okay? Sometimes mas form will come before it. Here are some examples. We've got 話したので大丈夫です. I talked, or I talked to them. So it's okay. 大丈夫 means okay or fine. It's fine. 話したので大丈夫です. Right? 高いので買いません. So you could put this here. So the general rule, right? General rule with ので is 高いので買いません. But you could say 高いですので買いません. It gives it a little bit more polite feel to it. Technically, you wouldn't do that, but some people do. It's expensive, so I won't buy it. 高いので買いません. 子供なので気にしないでください. 気にしないで means don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. No problem. 気にしないで don't worry about it. 子供なので気にしないでください. So maybe you're apologizing because your kid's making too much noise in some place and the person that owns the place is like, don't worry about it. They're just a kid. 子供なので気にしないでください. Don't worry about it. Alright. Some more complicated sentences. We have 熱を出たので仕事に行きません. I got a fever, so I won't go to work. I got a fever, so I won't go to work. Usually we have the politeness determiner over here. 行きません. 熱が出たので仕事に行きません. 今年どこにも行かなかったので少し悲しいです. 今年 this year. どこにも anywhere. どこにも I like go anywhere. We're gonna say 行かなかった. どこにも行かなかった. 行かない. どこにも行かない means I won't go anywhere. And that どこにも, just think of that as a expression on its own. どこにも. どこも is anywhere, but when you're using 行く, you're going to usually use the ni particle in between どこ and も. どこにも行かなかったので I didn't go anywhere this year, so 少し悲しいです. I'm a little sad. 少し is an adverb, ね? Means a little bit. 少し悲しいです. 赤が好きじゃないので青をお願いします. I don't like red, so please give me blue. We're going to use this お願いします to mean please give me, just like ください. 青ください would also be fine. 青をください. 青をお願いします. I don't like red, so please give me blue. 赤が好きじゃないので、青をお願いします。Do you love that aka is green and ao is darker green? That's what my new color coding determined. So what are you gonna do? See you later, Gorkum. Have a good night. Jumping into our conversation, slow one time, full speed, then English, then we'll make some sentences and I'll answer any questions that you might have. みんな、今日は予定がある？うん、書いて寝る。あたし、休みなので何も予定がない。いいですね。B さんは Full speed。みんな今日は予定がある？うん、書いて寝る。あたし、休みなので何も予定がない。いいですね。B さんは Jumping into the English。みんな今日は予定がある？予定 means plans。予定がある。You have plans. Just like in English, really. 予定がある？うん。書いて寝る。So this is using the te form to connect two different sentences, except it's just two verbs. 書いて寝る。I'm gonna go home, sleep. うん。書いて寝る。Go home, sleep. あたし is a feminine version of watashi, an informal feminine version of watashi. あたし。休みなので。休み is 休む is a verb that means to take a rest or to take off. But 休み is a noun that means vacation or day off or yeah, basically. So 休み between a noun or an adjective and ので you need な。休みなので何も予定がない。I don't have any plans at all or I don't have plans at all. That 何も with a negative means not at all. いいですね. Fair enough is how I've translated it here. いいですね is like that's nice. Sounds good. Fair enough. いいですね. B さんは Using just the wa particle after someone's name means that you're asking them what they're going to do or what about them? Are you going to have this or what do you want? Just what it comes after that is implied. It's very common to just say a person's name plus wa. Especially if the question is understood based on the context of the situation you're in. For example, if everyone has just ordered something at the table and people want to know what you're going to order, B-san wa? What about you? And that's it. It means how about you, B? Our next section is must in Japanese. You must do something or I must. This is a fun section. There's lots of stuff to go over into it. So before we do that, let's go ahead and make some sentences using our last section, which was no de. So please use, what kind of sentence can we make using no de? For example, we can use our sentence from earlier. For example, remember withほうがいい, you told me something that you should do tomorrow. But now what I want you to try and do is to try and make a sentence using no de with the reason you should do that thing tomorrow. So basically you give me the reason first, plus no de, and then ほうがいい. So, mine was ビデオを作った方がいい. That was my ほうがいい sentence, right? But the reason for that is たくさんのビデオを作らなきゃいけないのでビデオを作った方がいい. So give me the reason first. And what I just said is from the next section. It's I have a lot of videos that I must make, so I should make a video tomorrow. That's my reason. I have lots to make, so I'll make one tomorrow. If you want to make another sentence with no day, that's fine too, but that's my idea. ありがとうございました. Gorkem, have a great night. 頑張って400. Ooh, wow. I've heard noni. No, nanoni. No, noni is a different grammar point that comes up in Genki 2, I believe. It's got a lot of uses, and there's actually two different meanings that you might have with that. One thing I forgot, while you're answering those questions, let me just jump into the grammar dictionary. I promised that I was going to read a little section out of there, because it's quite important actually. No de, there it is. I'll drop this into the stream cut further along. So let's just jump into the grammar section. The main difference is explained here very well. It's not explained in Genki. I'm just going to read it. The conjunction kara expresses reason or cause, just like no de. But kara and no de differ in the following way. No de is used when the speaker believes that the information he provides to in the first sentence uh, is valid and evident and acceptable to the learner. So your first sentence before node, it's something that the listener believes and accepts. Like there's no doubt in their mind that the first part of that sentence is true. Whereas with kara, that's not necessarily true. So their example is 人がたくさん来るだろうから食べ物をたくさん買っておいた. So this is because many people will probably come, I've bought a lot of food. So probably, right? We're not sure, but probably a lot of people will come. So I bought a lot of food. That's the sentence. But you don't know that a lot of people are going to come. It's not obvious, 100% sure that it's going to be a bunch of people that come tomorrow. So you can't use node there. You have to use kara. So that's actually quite a big and important difference. If the first sentence that comes before node is not a guarantee that everyone accepts and believes in the conversation, you would need to use kara. Node is only for things like, for example, right now it's raining. It's obvious. You look out the window, it's raining. 雨降っているので傘を持って行ってね. It's raining right now, so bring an umbrella. Okay? That's the big difference. If I say, it might rain later, 後で降るかもしれないので, that's not okay. We don't know if it's going to rain. You need to use kara there. 後で雨が降るかもしれないから傘を持ってってね. It might rain later, so you should bring an umbrella. There you need to use kara. So that's actually a nice nuance that I didn't actually realize until I read that entry a few months back. So that's something to keep in mind. I will splice that in to the cut later. Let's go ahead and see what kind of sentences you guys have come up with. Noni is something very different. I'll cover that when we get to Genki too. I'd have to do a whole section on it otherwise. 昨日はジムに行かなかったので今日は行かなきゃ. Nice one, Dunny back. You didn't go to the gym yesterday, so today you must go. Perfect. アパートを掃除始めた方がいい. Say Space Monkey. Nice. Next sentence. エレベーターがなくてアスリートじゃないので非常に疲れました. Oh, that's really good except for the last part. じゃないので, right? じゃなくて. You don't need to use te form to connect the next part because node does that work for you. Node does the work of what the te form would have done there of connecting the next sentence. So you don't need the te form. You just say アスリートじゃないので非常に疲れました. Otherwise, good sentence. Nice. いつも映画を見るので楽しかったです. いつも映画を見るので. There's nothing wrong with the sentence, but that might not be the way you want to put it. What that means in English is I always watch movies, so I enjoyed it. So I'm not sure that's what you want to say. There's nothing wrong with the sentence. It's just I'm not sure that the meaning is quite what you wanted to tell us. 最近忙しかったのでアパートを掃除始めた方がいい. Nice. Mr. H が風邪を Oh no! 気をつけた方がいい. Yes. Mr. H has a cold. 気をつけて. 今朝運動しすぎましたので今背中や腕や足が痛い. やっぱりもっと運動した方がいい. いいね、ガリナさん. Good sentence. ゴジラなので東京に行かなかった. Okay, nice. お金が大好きなので仕事に行きます. That's a good sentence. But you need to have not because 大好き is a not adjective. So you need 大好きなので大好き or 大好きですので would also be fine. But more common is 大好きなのでいいね、お金持ちになる. Nice. Yes. Perfect. So yes, you need not between ski and node, or you need this. Not is more common. Just keep that in mind. Although I do like the sound of 大好きですので, but it is more common to say 大好きなので仕事に行きます. Perfect. Love it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we're going to move on to must in Japanese after I get a sip of water. I hope everyone's having a great night. I see we have 40 concurrent viewers and 44 likes. I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much, everyone, for smashing that like button for us. If you want to help support the ToKini Indie channel in any other way, please consider sharing this with anyone you know who might be studying Japanese. Feel free to jump into our Discord where you can ask questions at any time. And there's lots of people willing to help you and answer your questions. We also have lots of fun in the Discord. I believe there's a link down in the description. But if there's not, let me know and we'll get one into chat for you. Also, I mentioned Yuki's Mizuhiki website being done. There it is. If you haven't seen it already, there's a link in the description for that as well. We've covered that already, though, I think. And we also have Patreon, where we have more content for your Genki lessons. We've got textbook practice videos. There's a textbook practice section at the end of every single lesson in Genki. Usually it requires a partner. A lot of you are studying alone, so instead of studying alone, why don't you study with Yuki and I? We will be your partners for all of those textbook practice exercises in our textbook practice videos on Patreon. We also do listening and shadowing practice, where you can shadow different dialogues from this lesson and from the Genki lessons. We give you lots of chances to shadow them slowly, medium speed, full speed, and to listen for listening practice as well. Both of us, Yuki's native pronunciation and mine. Mine's not native, but it is what it is. And we also got vocabulary videos that go over each of the vocabulary words in every single lesson and allows you to repeat after the native pronunciation and shadow the native pronunciation. That's what we have over on the Patreon. There's a link in the description if you'd like to support there. I appreciate. Thank you all of the patrons that are here tonight. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. All right. So with that said, thank you, Dan, for dropping those links in there. Here's the Discord. Grrr. Because of Gojira, you didn't go to Tokyo. I think he means that he is Godzilla, so he didn't go. Or Godzilla is in Tokyo, so he didn't go to Tokyo. I didn't think about that. Good point. I thought he was Godzilla, so he didn't go to Tokyo. Because he might get shot down or something? I don't know. Thank you, Sensei. Can I know how to start through your videos? I would start with lesson 1. There is, for Patreon videos, there's a post pinned at the top of the Patreon that has the recommended order. So basically my recommended order is to watch a vocabulary video to go over the vocabulary, and then watch the stream cut of each of the lessons, because you don't want to watch all of this interaction with chat. You know, we have chat down here showing up in stream and stuff like that. You don't have to skip around all that. So I cut down to the not the bare minimum. I leave all the lesson content in, but I leave only the lesson content in the stream cut. So I recommend that for each lesson. Then textbook practice, and then listening and shadowing practice for more practice and to use what you've learned throughout the lesson. And then there's a bunch of other extra stuff on there. There's going to be lots of extra stuff in the future. We're going to keep going all the way through Genki 2 and hopefully on through intermediate content as well. That was a long advertisement. All right. So moving on. Our next section is must in Japanese. This is a fun one. I use this every single day. What Genki covers is, to say must, we can use nakereba ikemasen or naki ikemasen. These are very long. The one that I learned, because there's more, was nakereba naranai or nakereba narimasen. That's the first one that I learned. They're long. That's how you say must? Really, really long. Well, don't worry. I've got bad news and I've got good news. Let's go over the bad news first. The bad news is that there's a lot more of these. A lot more ways to say must or have to. For example, nakereba ikenai. That's the informal ending. Nakereba ikenai. Nakke ikenai. Nakucha ikenai. Nakereba naranai. Nai to ikenai. And you can also change the ending to polite form. So nakereba ikemasen, nakke ikemasen, nakucha ikemasen, nakereba naranai, nai to ikenai. And you can also put naranai before nakya, nakya naranai. Lots of different ways, and there's more. There's more that I don't even cover in all this lesson. So many. What's the difference? That's the good news. This is other good news. There's not really any difference. They're basically all the same. Most of them are based on preference. Some are a little bit more polite than others. For example, if you go back here, nakereba ikemasen, nakereba ikemasen, or nakereba narimasen are the most polite of all of those, I'd say. Nakereba ikemasen, nakereba narimasen. So back up here. Those are the most polite ones. Nakya is a little bit more casual. Nakucha is a little bit more casual. Nakereba naranai is very polite. If you put nakereba narimasen, that's even more polite. Nai to ikenai is a little bit more casual. So it's just sort of levels of casualness. But basically, most people in conversation pick one and use it all the time. I personally like nakya. Now, the ones before can all be shortened. You can take away ikenai, the ikenai part right here, or the naranai part, and just be left with nakya and nakucha, or naito. Now, nakya means not do, and ikenai means not go. So those double negatives sort of make a must. So for example, this sentence up here, nakereba ikenai, means if you don't do, or if you don't have, or whatever, you can't go. That's the literal translation of it, but together those double negatives mean must, or have to, for some reason. But anyway, you basically only use nakcha and nakya and naito to mean must with the ikenai at the end. So you can drop it in conversation, and most people do, and it's understood that you mean must. So that's really good news, because you get nakereba ikemasen, which is very hard to get off your tongue in the beginning, all the way down to nakya, nakucha, or naito. I believe that you can remember those. Maybe not the other ones. I think you can get these off your tongue as well. So what I want you to do is I want you to just pick one for now and use it all the time. I personally started with nakya because I found that the easiest to say. I also like naito quite a bit. Nakucha I use when I'm trying to be a little bit more dramatic or emphasizing, but I don't use it much. So it's very much a personal thing, which one you use. So don't worry about it too much. Because the first one that I used and found the easiest to say in the beginning was nakya, that's what we're going to be covering today, because everything about the other ones is the same. Like the usages, the sentences, you can just replace nakya with any one of those or the one that you like, and you will get the exact same sentence meaning. So we're just going to use nakya for all our examples tonight. I hope you don't mind that. To use nakya, you just take the short negative stem. Now, by that I mean, you take the negative stem, so you make the negative conjugation. I believe we did cover the negative conjugation, was it lesson 6 or 7? Maybe 8. I think it was 8, lesson 8. But anyway, you take the negative stem and add nakya. Now, the reason I say negative stem is because it's actually the negative. For example, tabenai, you cut the e and add kya instead. Or in this case, to, just add to. Or cut the e and add kucha. But if you just think about it as the negative stem, which we did cover in the lesson on the negative the negative conjugation, and add nakya, that might be the easiest way to think about it. So for example, taberu is an ichidan verb, so to make the negative, it's just tabe, that's the stem, nai, so the stem is tabe, nakya, must eat. Iku, the negative is ika, nai, so for must, ikanakya. Now if you want to do the long version, it's ikanakereba ikemasen, right? Or ikanakereba narimasen, or ikanakucha ikemasen. Lots of different ways, but they're all the same meaning, must go. And to create them, it's the same. Negative stem plus that thing that you put at the end, that long monstrosity. Or just nakya or nakucha or naito. Yamenakya, must quit. Yamenakya, must quit. All right, let's go over some example sentences. We've got ohiru tabenakya, I must eat lunch, or I have to eat lunch. Amerika ni kairanakya, I must go home to America, or I have to go home to America. Osake wo nomisugita, yamenakya, I drank too much alcohol. I have to quit. Osake o nomisugita, yamenakya. This is actually a situation where I personally would use yamenakucha, just because it feels better. I don't know why. I don't think there's a particular reason. It feels a little bit more, it's got some more oomph to it. Tabenakucha, or yamenakucha. Or I might actually use yamenaito. If I don't quit, it's going to be bad. That yamenaito has more of a feeling of, if I don't do something, yamenaito, then something bad will happen. So that's my feeling of naito, the difference. It's not really different, but that naito has more of a, if I don't do this, it will be bad, which can translate out to must. Which brings us to our conversation, where I did use a few different forms. So I'll read it slowly once, then at full speed. I'll go over the English. We'll make some sentences ourselves. And you can ask any questions you might have. All right, let's go. お部屋の掃除しなきゃいけません。 どうしても今日しなきゃまあ、あさっては仕事ですので。まあ、俺も洗濯しなきゃいけないけど、つまらない。また飲む安藤さん。お部屋の掃除しなきゃいけません。どうしても今日しなきゃまあ、あさっては仕事ですので、or まあ、あさっては仕事なので would probably be more common. まあ、俺も洗濯しなきゃいけないけど、つまらない。また飲む Let's go with the English. お部屋の掃除しなきゃいけません。I have to clean my room or my apartment. お部屋 can just be your apartment. Like, お部屋 is generally you'll see in dictionaries as being room. But a lot of people refer to their apartment as room. お部屋を掃除しなきゃいけません doesn't mean just my single room. Like if I were to say お部屋の掃除しなきゃいけない I would mean my apartment, my whole apartment, my bathroom included, not just my room. So a lot of people will refer to their apartment as room. Just be aware of that. What? どうしても今日しなきゃどうしても means no matter what. Like there's no other way about it. No matter what, どうしても That doesn't show up in Genki yet, I don't think, but it's quite useful. 今日しなきゃ Today, you must do it. Or today you have to do it. 今日しなきゃまあ、well, あさっては仕事ですので or 仕事なので would be another way to say this. あさって is the day after tomorrow. Well, the day after tomorrow I have work, so yeah, this is a way that no de is actually often used, or kara is often used in conversation. It's pause. There's obviously another sentence that comes out after that, the situation or whatever. But often you'll just pause and leave it unsaid, implied, right? まあ、あさっては仕事ですので、お部屋の掃除をしなきゃいけない is what the person's saying. But they already said that. They already said they have to clean their room, so they don't have to say it again. So they just end it with no de, da 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 da. Because you already know what they meant. まあ、俺も洗濯しなきゃいけないけど、まあ、I also have to do laundry, but this is often the way we use but in English. You just pause, but you leave the second part of that sort of in limbo. And I guess what this person means in this case, けど, I think what they mean is, but I'm not gonna do it. まあ、俺も洗濯しなきゃいけないけど、まあ、やりたくない。I don't really want to. Maybe is what they mean. I don't know. つまらない。Boring. That's how this is used. Boring. つまらない。Try using that. また飲む Should we drink again? また飲む Sure. As Ando-san does. Which brings us to probably, in Japanese, please tell me something, not that you should do tomorrow. Something you must do this coming week or tomorrow or anything. Something you have to do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You must do it. Tell me something you must do tomorrow. Good night, Kyushu Trail. I don't know if you're still there, but good night. Thank you for stopping by. All right. すみません。仕事に行かなきゃ says Space Monkey. Okay, no worries. See you later. ありがとうございます。よろしく。ゴジラのせいで。No wonder Japanese people are used to following the rules. They have so many ways of saying must. That could be why. すみません。そろそろ行かないと says Rohit. また今度 See you later. 仕事にはい。まだ7時. Have a good day at work. This lesson's gonna run a little bit late. Actually, we're already to the last section. This lesson went a lot faster than when we originally did it. I actually broke this into 2 parts the first time. 寝なきゃ Good night, says Kyushu Trails. Good night. Have a good day at work tomorrow. Or maybe you're hiking tomorrow. Have a good hike. It's Sunday. 買い物。仕事。なるほどね。Retail. 楽しんでね。お疲れ様です。ありがとうございます。このトピックの後、行きます。Perfect. See you later, man. Have a good day. This is one chapter I will look at again. It's very good, but has a lot of small points that are important. I agree. Definitely take a look at it again. There's lots going on here, and I definitely think that this lesson is worth taking a look at in the book. There's a few things that the book skips over, like I mentioned with the dictionary, but I would definitely take a look at this one as well in the book. Make sure you do the textbook practice, especially if you have the Patreon, because you're going to need it. Keckles, お誕生日おめでとうおいっこくん It's your birthday. Happy birthday. 今日は、なんだ It's not his birthday. It's, excuse me, his nephew's birthday ね。Okay. Nephew's birthday. 誕生日なので、後で行かなきゃいけません。Have fun at your nephew's birthday. Nice. おいの誕生日のパーティーにを楽しんでください。あ、Yuki said that. おめでとう。おいっこくん。毎日ご飯をしなきゃ。Yes. 明日映画を見なきゃ。Tada likes movies. I love it. I haven't watched a movie in so long. 映画を見なきゃ。We actually have the oldest, I didn't know this until recently, the oldest movie theater in Japan, here in Nagano City. We also have a more new, bigger, cool movie theater, but we also have the oldest movie theater in Japan, which is, doesn't make a profit or anything. The guy who runs it just does it because he enjoys doing movie theater as a business. And I didn't know that. And I've always wanted to go to that place because it looks really cool. It's super old. Looks like something that would show up in like an 80s movie that sucks you into the movie. There's a movie like that. But anyway, looks like one of those places. It's the oldest movie theater in Japan. Here in Nagano. 私の足と、何運動し、Yes. 呼吸ね。Deep breathing. 私の足と呼吸を運動しなくちゃ。コンピューターを買ったので、お金を稼がなきゃ。Yes, you have to save lots of money or make lots of money, I guess. 稼がなきゃ。だよね。わかる。私は漢字を学ぶ必要がwe don't use must with ある。So, 必要 sort of has that built into it. 必要 means need, right? It's a noun that means need, or an adjective, I guess. So you don't need to, you can't use must with ある or いる. So it's only with active verbs. Must do. しなくちゃ、食べなくちゃ. But 必要がある is what you would say for that. Or 必要ある is what you would say there. A little bit different. この文法は習わなきゃ、習わなければなりませんね。習わなければなりません。Nice one. Good sentence, Dani. Yuki, when you refer to someone else's nephew, is it oikko-kun? Like oikko-kun? I'm going to let Yuki answer that question. More common to leave all in hiragana. Oyasumi, says Radclaw. Oyasumi, is that you? You're going to sleep? Oyasumi. Good all night. Demon Slayer. Just trying to understand if that's where it comes from. Keckles, yes, it is. Oikko is oikko. Aha. I've never seen the well, I probably did back when I did RTK. Oikko. I haven't really seen it since then. Wakarimashita! Oikko plus kun, like chan or san. Nice. All right. So, for our last section tonight, we are going to be covering probably in Japanese. This is one that's going to show up a lot if you're watching, for example, the news, in particular the weather in Japan. In fact, when you're watching the weather in Japan, our next section comes up after every single sentence, and that is probably in Japanese. To say probably in Japanese, we end a sentence with でしょう. でしょう. To use it, we just take the short form present tense or negative of a verb and add でしょう. For an e adjective or a negative e adjective, we just take that alone and add でしょう. And for an adjective or noun, you just take that and add でしょう. And that's it. And that means probably. 食べるでしょう. Probably eat. 飲まないでしょう. Probably not drink. 寒いでしょう. Probably cold. 長野でしょう. Probably Nagano. So, I want to mention right here that if you watch a weather report in Japanese, after literally every single sentence that makes a claim about the next day, they end with でしょう. Every single one. So we always joke, I know, in America about, especially Nagano here in English, about how the weather person is basically never right. Well, in Japanese, they sort of build that into their reports and just say probably at the end of every single thing they say. They never say it's going to rain tomorrow. They will always say 雨が降るでしょう. It will probably rain tomorrow. It's an interesting little point. I think that's really funny when I'm watching the news. They never just say it's going to rain. They always end with でしょう. So you'll hear it a lot. Some more complicated sentences. We have 安藤さんは肉が食べれるでしょう. 安藤さん can probably eat meat. So this is the what do you call it? The potential form, which we haven't gone over in Genki 1. We're going to be going over it in Genki 2, but basically it means can eat. 食べれる. I'm not going to go over how to make it right now. Just know that 食べれる means can eat. So 安藤さん can probably eat meat. 安藤さんは肉が食べれるでしょう。あの人はお酒を飲まないでしょう。あの人 means that person probably doesn't drink alcohol. お酒を飲まないでしょう. So you can put でしょう right after the negative short form tense and you're good to go. 明日は寒いでしょう. Sounds like a weather forecast. It will probably be cold tomorrow. Even if it's like 100%, it's going to be freezing tomorrow. They're still going to say でしょう on the news forecast. There's other ways you can use でしょう. One is to politely ask for someone's opinion or guess with でしょうか. When you're asking for someone's opinion on something, it's more polite to ask with でしょうか than it is with ですか. Now the reason for that, and Genki sort of goes over this, is that asking ですか, it can be embarrassing if the person doesn't know the answer. So でしょうか gives them sort of an out. What it means is, like, we think they probably know that thing. What do you probably think about this? What's your guess or opinion? If you ask someone ですか, it's basically assuming that they know the answer. And if they don't know the answer, they might feel bad about it. So this is a more polite way to ask a question. でしょうか. So you're going to hear it a lot and you're going to use it a lot when you're asking people who are above you or that you don't know really well questions. Even people that you do know pretty well, you'll still use でしょうか. And to use it, you'll take a short form present tense sentence, whether positive or negative, and add でしょうか. So short form present negative, でしょうか. E adjective or negative E adjective, でしょうか. Na adjective or noun, でしょうか. For the negative of na adjectives and nouns, it would be じゃないでしょうか. Okay? Or ではないでしょうか. So here are some example sentences with the questions. We've got 食べれるでしょうか. 食べれるでしょうか. So these are basically the same sentences before, but as a question. Do you think they can eat? 食べれるでしょうか. 飲まないでしょうか. Do you think they will not drink? So that でしょうか is probably not drink. Do you think? But do you think they will not drink is basically a better translation of this. 寒いでしょうか. Do you think it's cold or do you think it will be cold? So for example, if you're inside, you're about to go outside and you want to ask someone that's above you or that you don't really know that well, 外は寒いでしょうか. Do you think it's cold outside? 長野でしょうか. Do you think it's Nagano? Do you think the answer is Nagano? 長野でしょうか. I don't know. Another way that でしょ is used is a shorter version, which just means right at the end of a sentence. So でしょ? でしょ? That's kind of how you say that, with a little rising intonation. No, it's sort of informal, conversational. But this is another way to use でしょ, and it's used the exact same way as the other ones, just present or negative sentence with でしょ, E adjective, negative E adjective でしょ, na adjective noun でしょ, or na adjective noun じゃないでしょ. Same exact way. So we got the same exact sentences, but they have a different meaning, right? 食べれるでしょ? You can eat that, right? 飲まないでしょ? Not drink, right? In other words, you don't drink, right? 飲まないでしょ? 寒いでしょ? It's cold, right? 長野でしょ? If someone's asking me where, like someone asks Andy, where do you live? And someone else says, Nagano de sho? He lives in Nagano, right? It's like that. It's a very common one that I like to use. So let's go ahead and jump into our conversation piece where I use all of these, every single one of them. This is the final conversation piece of Genki 1, guys. The final one. final one. I'll read it slow once, then at full speed, go over the English. We'll make a couple sentences, and we'll celebrate the end of Genki 1. Good job, guys. Seriously, good job. All right. まあ、今日は土曜日でしょ。そうだね。明日は掃除できるでしょ。まあ、そうですね。じゃあ、決定。今日もあんなに飲むでしょうか。多分、昨日より飲むでしょう。Oh no. Full speed. まあ、今日は土曜日でしょ。そうだね。明日は掃除できるでしょ。まあ、そうですね。じゃあ、決定。今日もあんなに飲むでしょうか。多分、昨日より飲むでしょ。Or, actually, this is 昨日より飲むでしょう。Oh no. Let's go over the English quickly. And we'll make a couple sentences ourselves. Alright. まあ、今日は土曜日でしょう。Well, today is Saturday, right? そうだね。明日は掃除できるでしょう。Right, you can clean tomorrow, can't you? まあ、そうですね。Well, I guess, そうですね。じゃあ、決定。決定 is just a noun which means decision or it's decided. But you can just use it alone. 決定 it's decided. Well then, 決定 I like to use it that way sometimes. It's decided. 今日もあんなに飲むでしょうか? Do you think we will drink as much as yesterday? あんなに as much as something. あんなに it's like that. As much as that. Right? あんなにそんなに would be another way of saying そんなに or I can't drink that much. That's a little bit different. But あんなに as much as yesterday. 昨日もう今日もあんなに飲むでしょう. The あんなに is referring to how much we drank the day before. Because remember at the beginning of this lesson everyone had hangovers. 多分 probably 多分昨日より飲むでしょう. So you can put 多分 at the beginning of a でしょう sentence. 多分 means probably or maybe. But it signals that a でしょう is coming. It signals that the sentence means 多分. You can put it at the beginning of the sentence because でしょう comes at the end. So you don't know that we mean probably until you get to the end. But if you put 多分 at the beginning of the sentence, we already know that what is being said is not definite, but it's probable or likely. Now, 多分, a lot of people use it as maybe, but I think it's a little bit more likely than a maybe in English. Maybe in English is weird, but 多分 it's like borderline between maybe and probably. So be careful with using that. When you tell someone 多分, you think you're saying maybe, and a lot of times when people say maybe in English, what they mean is no. But that is not the case when you say 多分. 多分 often means probably. So 多分昨日より飲むでしょう. Huh? We will probably drink more than yesterday. Oh no! Which brings us to question time. Before we get to question time, because I want you to make some sentences using the last section, please tell me what the weather is probably going to be like where you live tomorrow. Tell me what the weather is probably going to be like a weather report tomorrow. So here, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather in Nagano, Japan. Weather, Nagano. Tomorrow, 明日は雨が降るでしょう. It might rain tomorrow. It's probably going to rain, but a little bit tomorrow. Clear with periodic rain. So I'm going to say 明日は雨が降るでしょう. 雨が降るでしょう. So please go ahead and give me some sentences with でしょう, and then we will jump over to question time after we get a few sentences and any questions that you might have about this entire lesson. Question time. We don't really need question time anymore because we have question time all throughout the lesson. We lost a lot of people midway through. I know it's a long lesson, but I want to make sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Do I sound weird? Is there anything wrong? Are the fans like abnormally loud or anything like that? Or am I just too energetic? I feel like we lost a lot of people. A lot more than normal at this time, but perhaps a lot of people just aren't to lesson 12 yet, which could be part of the issue. So tell me what the weather is going to be like, and after you tell me what the weather's going to be like. Why don't you answer the question for today? You can answer down in the comments as well if you're still here and you're watching after the fact. The question is, 近いうちにやったこと、近いうちにやった方がいいことは何ですか? Or やった方がいいことは何でしょうか? What is the thing you really should do in the near future? 近いうちに means in the near future. I can hear you says carpe diem. Thank you. Appreciate it. 明日晴れでしょう。明日は晴れでしょう。Nice. Perfect. Good. 明日千葉で晴れと曇りでしょう。Nice. 明日は暑くて晴れでしょう。Very good, Danny Beck. Love it. Alright, good job, guys. 近いうちにやった方がいいことは何ですか? You sound fine to me. Alright, good. Then it's probably just who knows. But thank you. Alright. So that's the final question for tonight. 明日、福岡は晴れでしょう。長野 is also 晴れでしょう。けど、but 雨も降るでしょう。I think. So after you get that question, if you'd like me to go back to the question, let me know. I will scroll back up, but let me just get this out of the way. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the stream or learned anything from it, please thumbs up を攻撃してください. Please attack the thumbs up button. Also, チャンネル登録お願いします. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed yet and hit the bell so that you can get notifications whenever these live streams go live or whenever new videos go live. There will be many more videos in the near future. I plan on making at least 1 or 2 this coming week. And of course, next week will be the practice live stream for lesson 12. And after that, we will probably be doing practice live streams for lessons 1 through 10 until we can get started with Genki 2. We finished Genki 12, Genki 1, guys. Genki, we finished it. If you've followed me up until now and you are also on lesson 12, that means you are about to be finished with lesson 12 and Genki 1 as well. Congratulations. Good job, guys. You worked hard. We worked hard together. And I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it. And I can't wait to start Genki 2 with all of you next month. It's going to be a good time. Can't wait. For those of you who are patrons, there will be lots more content coming on the Patreon with Genki 2. And in the meantime, I'm going to be working on getting that test ready for you guys. And hopefully adding some reading with Yuki over the next few weeks to fill in the gaps between now and Genki 2. So if you aren't a Patreon yet, there's a link down in the description. Please check it out. We've got a $5 and a $10 tier. There's lots of different content on there that can help you get through Genki if you haven't already gotten through it yet. All right. So anyway, I'll let you answer the questions, guys, and hang out for a few minutes because it's 10:44 and I don't have anything to do tomorrow. So, おやすみありがとう says Space Monkey. ありがとうおやすみなさい。お疲れ様 says K さん。K さん、こんばんは。フランスで明日は暑いでしょう。Nice, Lynn. Love it. I missed your sends earlier for some reason. I don't know why. フランスで明日は暑いでしょう。多分、日本の映画を見るでしょう。Nice. Perfect. 明日天気は雨が降るでしょう says Keckles. Keckles も雨だ。実際は今雨が降るんです。降っているんです。ね。It's raining right now ね。今雨が降っているんです。Nice. おめでとうお疲れ様です。皆様お疲れ様です。Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. お疲れ様でした。ありがとうございます。I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Will you game this week? What is my schedule like this week? Let's take a look. I will not be gaming tomorrow. If we game, it will be either Tuesday or Friday. I can't do Wednesday or Thursday because of work. But if we game, it'll be Tuesday or Friday. Most likely. We'll be streaming next Sunday, the lesson 12 practice, and then after that, for a couple days, we'll be doing the live streams for... Definitely next week, I can do a few live streams for the practice sections for lessons 1 through 10. So if you need more practice on lessons 1 through 10, come hang out for those ones. こちらこそありがとう、リン。ありがとう、オースティン。ありがとう、ケコルズ。ありがとう、ユキちゃん。And he has an hour tonight. He has an hour tonight. I have an hour tonight. To stream, you mean? I plan on gaming tomorrow, says Come to Japan Dan. Woo woo! I don't know if I'm going to be around tomorrow night, but hopefully I'll be able to stop in on Dan's stream. You guys should all check out Dan's stream tomorrow as well. Lots of fun. Yeah. Yuki didn't have to read any super chats tonight, but that's okay. Yuki, do you want to say anything to everyone in chat? You are now alive if you want to say something on the Discord. You want to say good night to everyone. Go ahead and let me know. You just don't forget to press the control button. Because I put her on push to talk for the Discord. A crazy weird Japan. Oh, you're playing that one again, Come to Japan. More practice. I'm there! Sorry, I'm still doing lesson 7. No worries, Chris Lane. So, from next week,
Yes,
right?
I'm alive now.
Yes, everyone can hear you now.
おやすみなさい.
Oyasumi, says Yuki. So yeah,
I didn't forget.
oh, okay, good. No problem. So, what was I going to say? Yeah. It's okay if you're still in lesson 7, because we're going to be doing lessons 1 through 10, not this coming week, like not from tomorrow, but from the following week. We're going to be doing practice streams where we just do what we did tonight in between each lesson, basically, between each section. We'll take every section from lessons 1 through 10 and practice making sentences together. Like, I'll have questions for each one and have like a cues for you to make sentences for each one to get some practice. So that should be fun. Oyasumi nasai, Donibek. All right. So, I think I'm gonna get going for tonight. But it was great talking to you guys. It was great. You guys did a great job making sentences. I hope that you learned a little something tonight. And if you were just hanging out and aren't actually on this lesson yet, I hope that next time you stop by, you learn something then too. Fuikon oyasumi nasai, Donibek oyasumi nasai. Thank you so much. Get on that, says Come to Japan. Arigatou gozaimashita, says Chris Lane. Kochira koso arigatou gozaimashita. Can we still use Genki 2 old version for when you start? Yes. The second edition will still be applicable, just like the second and first edition for Genki 1 were applicable. The questions in the textbook practice may be a little bit different. I haven't gotten the new copy yet, but I'm assuming just like with Genki 1, the questions will be almost the same, but maybe jumbled a little bit. But as I've done on the Patreon up until now, I'll make it so that you don't necessarily have to have the book with you to do the textbook practice. So it doesn't matter which book you have either, because you can just follow along with that. And the sections should cover the exact same stuff. They may combine some sections or whatever, but each lesson should cover the exact same material in the new version of Genki 2. So if you have the second edition of Genki 2 already, it shouldn't be an issue. I'll be doing a review of the second edition as soon as I get it in the mail, like the next day. I should be releasing it to let you know if it's even worth it. Ron Seruya. I just started learning 2 weeks ago, so I'm not at lesson 12 yet. Just wanted to jump in and thank you for these videos. Thank you, Ron. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate messages like that a lot. I hope that when you get here, whenever you get here, you'll find this lesson useful as well. Aubergine, thanks for a great Genki 1. Aubergine, thank you, and I'm so happy to hear that you're feeling better. I hope that you continue to, what's the word for it? Feel better, I guess. I forgot my English for a second. Yep, I'm planning to pick up the second Genki 2. Nice. All right. Some of us finished it. Fair enough. Question, maybe a quick answer. How can I contact you personally regarding the podcast? I'm working on it on a daily basis. You can use either private messages on Discord. You can use Twitter. Those are probably the two best ways. Twitter or private message on Discord. I don't know if you're still in the Discord right now. I know you jump in and out of there sometimes, but no, you're in the Discord. Yeah, that's probably the best way. Discord private message. The next best way is Twitter. Please also subscribe to Come to Japan. Yes, please do. Shipping costs me from my arm from Amazon. Yeah. Shipping from Japan isn't that expensive, but I hear you. I like that your lessons are evolving. Something for everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Tara. That's what makes them so fun. If I didn't keep evolving it and adding something new, it would probably get pretty boring, even for me. So I like to keep improving them, and I hope that they are improving for you guys as well. So, but thank you. I'm liking making the sentences thing. I think that's nice. Makes it interactive and stuff. Lucy in Discord is probably the best. I agree. You can DM there. I didn't know you can DM there. Good to know. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably the best way. You just click on my name, like within the Discord or on the right side, and then there will be a little message this person, and you can message me. DMs for all. Yasumi Sugu. Suguru, arigato. Minasan. Suguru is Yuki's brother-in-law. 今週末ありがとうございました。楽しかったです。 帰りたくなかったけど。もう測定戻れないんですけれど。また明日ね。はい。Suguru said, good night to you on chat. I saw that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you have a P.O. box? I do not have a P.O. box. I don't. I don't know if they do P.O. boxes here. They must. They must have P.O. boxes in Japan, but I do not have one. I should probably get one. Because I don't really want to post my address online, but I know that some people like to do that. Like they put their address, P.O. boxes and stuff on their YouTube channels. I've seen that before. I don't see why I shouldn't do the same thing. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I should probably make one if it's possible. Please consider checking out the Patreon, says Dan. Yes, thank you, thank you. Sorry I couldn't come up with more tongue twisters. No worries, no worries, no worries. Not a problem. There's always next time. There's only... I was actually practicing tongue twisters on the drive home tonight because I was alone tonight on the drive home. So I was using them to prep for tonight. Practicing tongue twisters helps you speak more clearly and more quickly, so... But maybe I was speaking too quickly tonight. That might be what happened. Yes, so we can send you stuff also. Oh, guys, too nice. But thank you. But yeah, I should make one. Even just to have for anything. Postcards or whatever are always cool. I could do like episodes where I read out postcards from around the world. That'd be fun. There's so many people from so many different places here. That's what makes these streams interesting as well. Just all over the world. Alright guys, well, it's time to say goodnight. For those of you who are actually really truly finished with Genki 1, お疲れ様でした。これからもよろしくお願いします。We'll be moving on to Genki 2 and beyond, so これからもよろしくお願いします。For those of you who aren't actually finished with 12 but just hanging out tonight, 頑張ってください. You'll get there soon. Work hard. You'll make it. Ah, yes. And Yuki's website. Let's pop that up on screen one more time. Boom. Yuki makes Mizuhiki accessories, like this cool pin badge that you can order and have sent anywhere in the world for a flat price. Shipping price, right? Anywhere in the world. Except for at the moment, because of you-know-what. We can't send to the United States, Australia, Russia, or Cyprus. Any other country we can send them to right now. If you live in any of the countries I just mentioned, you can still order, but it will take possibly a very long time for you to get it. But if you want to do something like pick up one of the summer-only items, that may be something you'd like to do. I apologize that we can't mail them out sooner, but it is what it is. I can't believe we did it. No, I can't either. I can't believe how fast this happened. I can't believe it's finished. It's crazy. Crazy. Can't believe it. Like, seriously. That was so fast. I feel like I just finished the first time around through Genki when I created this whole format. Like, recently. But it was quite a long time ago. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here. Having you guys here for each of these streams is what makes them so fun and makes me keep coming back every Sunday for more. So I hope to see you next time when we start Genki 2 and next week when we practice more of Genki 1 Lesson 12, and in the upcoming practice streams, and for the test on Patreon. Alright, have a great night, guys. Let me drop this advertisement, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
日本語勉強したいのか？俺と同じ風に日本語を喋れるようになりたいのか？この本持ってるのか？ Then we're here to help. 俺は無理って言おうと思った。On the ToKini Andy Patreon, we have listening and shadowing practice, Genki vocabulary practice, Genki textbook practice where Yuki, Ando, and I are your partners. Eventually, even workbook practice. え、そうなの？給料出る？
確かに。
Yeah, sure.
給料出るんだ。
After Genki 1, we'll be covering Genki 2, and eventually even intermediate textbooks. Detailed grammar lessons and Japanese Q&As will, as always, be on the YouTube for free. ToKini Andy Patreon, live right now. よろしくね。
よろしくお願いします。